Welcome back to Episode by Episode. Sorry about the 2-week break, I had to get stuff fixed around the house, but we're back on schedule now. Before I begin, I think you probably noticed that this episode isn't Poomra. That's because for this series, we'll be going into production order when it makes sense. Though Poomra is listed as the 5th episode in airing order and the DVDs, there are events it refers to that only happen in Episode 6. That's because Episode 5 in production order was this one. I don't know why this flipped around happened, but here's where we are. I'd also like to give a massive thanks to Bushman, who is hard at work doing HD upscales for these episodes. He is bar none the hardest working guy in the fandom, so I'm going to ask you all to give him a big thank you in the comments. Premiering on September 17th, 1985, and written by Ron Goulart and Julian P. Gardner, The Trouble with Time opens with the mutants trying to eat, with Slythe complaining about the food quality.
Yuck! Slop! Unfit for mutant consumption.
Monkeyan comments that they need slaves that can act as cooks. This leads to Slythe declaring what is needed, and Monkeyan showing a bit of displeasure with Slythe's comment.
A woman's touch is what's needed here. Chauvinist reptile.
Monkeyan scurries off to find what Slythe is looking for. We then cut to a Third Earth native attempting some fishing. Monkeyan comes into frame, calling her a warrior woman and pondering a question.
I wonder if she can cook.
Monkeyan, you are a grown mutant. Why can't you? Monkeyan comments on how this task is too easy and approaches the woman. He snatches her up and takes off, but is intercepted by another of her tribe, and Monkeyan retreats after a bit of humiliation. The two women talk, discussing the fact that Monkeyan and some others crash-landed on the planet not too long ago. This is when we learn what they call themselves. Warrior Maidens. The one in the halter top being named Nada, and the one in the orange being their leader, Willa. Needless to say, they want both the mutants and the ThunderCats gone from their area. The joys of invasive species. Back at the Cat Slayer, Lionel is marveling over the Thunder Tank, something people like me have been doing for almost 40 years now.
This Thunder Tank Panthro build is really something. But he never lets me drive it.
Lionel wants to take it for a drive, but Snarf advises him not to due to having no experience, telling Lionel to wait until his lesson tomorrow. But Lionel, of course, doesn't listen and runs amok with the tank. This gets the attention of Panthro, who is none too happy about it.
Dang blasted! What's going on? Who's driving my Thunder Tank?
Panthro rushes down, completely intent on doing unspeakable violence to whomever is attempting the Grand Theft Auto of his baby.
All right, Thunder! When I catch that tank snapper, I'll smash him into sonic smithereens!
Panthro gets into the tank and stops it. Panthro gives Lionel a small lecture about the harm he could have caused and tells Lionel to leave it alone until the lesson tomorrow, promising to not tell Chitara and Tigra about Lionel's joyride. Panthro points out that joyrides deplete their Thundrillium reserves, what they use for power, and while they brought some from Thundera, they need to see if any exists on Third Earth or nothing they have will work. Monkeyan overhears this and rushes off to tell Slythe. We go back to the ThunderCats where some time has passed. Panthro is explaining to everyone how their Thundrillium detectors work, and Chitara comments.
Too bad you just can't dream up a substitute power source.
Matter of fact, Chitara, I'm working on that.
Never let it be said the ThunderCats weren't forward-thinking. They all split up, with Snarf being protective of Lionel as always.
He's not a bad boy, but he never listens.
I feel you, Snarf. I feel you. We join back with the mutants, Monkeyan excitedly telling the others of the cat's lack of fuel reserves. The mutants decide to interfere with the cat's efforts. Following up with Lionel, he feels like he's being watched, but doesn't spot anything until Willa falls out of a tree behind him. But any conversation between them is halted when a creature attacks. Willa releases some arrows, but it's not stopping the beast. So Lionel jumps between them and raises his claw shield. It emits a flash of energy and the creature runs off, leaving Lionel to check on his spy. Willa, of course, isn't really pleased at the intervention.
I don't need any help.
Lionel is taken aback by her aggression, but they soon talk it out, and Willa comes to the conclusion that she may be wrong about him. Maybe. She gives her name and rushes off through the trees. She meets back up with her sister and tells her to inform the rest of the women to watch Lionel carefully, just in case. Going to Tigra, he's following his Thundrillium detector into an unusual cave. As he journeys further into the cave, he starts to feel weak. He realizes he's rapidly aging, but isn't strong enough to get himself out anymore. This is when the Eye of Thundera alerts Lionel to Tigra's predicament, but is confronted by the mutants. The mutants disarm him, but an arrow lodges into a tree and expels a gas that puts Monkeyan to sleep. More arrows come out, dealing with the other mutants. It's the Warrior Maidens. Lionel comments that they're even now and tries to take off. Willa tells him to not go in that direction because the Cave of Time is there and it's not safe. Lionel appreciates the warning but tries to take off anyways. That's when the spirit of Jaga appears before him with some wisdom.
Sometimes you can save time by waiting and finding out all there is to learn about a situation.
Lionel takes this wisdom, but Willa is confused about who Lionel was talking to as she couldn't see Jaga. Willa tells Lionel that no one can escape the cave because no one can outrun aging.
No one can run fast enough to escape aging.
It can be done, Willa. I can't do it, but Chitara can.
Lionel summons the other ThunderCats, and they all rush to the entrance of the cave. Willa continuing to say that there's no way anyone is fast enough to get Tigra out of the cave.
It's not possible to move fast enough, I tell you.
You've never seen a cheetah move if you think that.
Slythe and Jackalman trying to wake Monkeyin up. They plot an ambush because learning after the first time is not their strong suit. Chitara, rushing through the cave, finds Tigra, who tries to warn her about the cave, but she's too fast for it and gets him out of there quickly. The others are shocked at the state of Tigra, and Lionel asks if there is anything they can do. Willa talks about a geyser of life that may restore Tigra's proper age. Approaching the geyser, it's revealed that it's guarded by winged snakes. Chitara and Lionel prepare for battle. But Panthro intervenes, telling them that they don't have time for a drawn-out fight with Tigra's condition, so they opt to distract the snakes instead. That being done, Willa and Panthro take Tigra to the geyser, with Willa warning Tigra that staying in too long could revert him to infancy. But all is well, as Tigra emerges just fine.
It worked!
How do you feel, Tigra?
A lot better than I did.
The ThunderCats notice that Willa is gone, and we catch up to the mutants waiting to ambush the ThunderCats. But their plans are foiled once again by the Warrior Maidens, so the ThunderCats walk by peacefully as Panthro talks about finding a source for Thundrillium as the episode closes on a joke.
And I'm sure I've located a terrific source of Thundrillium.
So did I, Panthro, but I'm not going back for it.
Writer's commentary from Ron Goulart. I must admit that, at this point in time, my memories of my time working on ThunderCats are dim rather than crystal clear. Plus, writing for the show was not a high point of my career, and outside of watching the initial broadcasts of the 2 or 3 shows I was involved with, I haven't looked at an episode since. I have no idea who invented the Warrior Maidens. I know I've written several stories and a couple of novels about bands of tough ladies, so it's possible I did think them up. Since ThunderCats was the only animated cartoon I ever wrote for, I can't say creating new characters for a show was a policy of mine. I hate to sound crass, but I've been a professional writer since I was 22, and the main thrills have always come from my work with my name prominently attached, getting recognition and bringing in an income. And now for my thoughts. This episode further fleshes out the world of Third Earth, introducing us to both the Warrior Maidens as well as anomalous places on this planet. The first we see of them, in fact. The episode opens with a visual gag that I love every time I see it. Right here.
Oh, look at this place. A jackal wouldn't eat in this mess. Then go, Monkeyin, go!
With Jackal Man. Jackal Man! Happily scarfing down the food with no complaints. The added humor of a mental infant like Monkeyin pointing out that Slythe is a chauvinist is an added bit of comedy too. The introduction of the Warrior Maidens is a strong one. While demonstrating they may not have the physical prowess of the other characters, they're no damsels in distress. This is seen by them being the ones that put the mutants down multiple times in this episode. They're smart, resourceful, and have an expert understanding of their territory. A fun fact about some of the original production notes about the show is Willa was supposed to have a crush on Lionel the entire time that they've been interacting, and Lionel has been absolutely oblivious to any of it, which would have been hilarious, and I kinda wish we would have gotten it. Speaking of Lionel, a nice touch is Lionel's excursion in the Thunder Tank, both because Panthro being quick to let his anger go is an added character trait, but also because it's a great demonstration of Lionel still having a child's mind, begging Panthro not to tell the others and still asking for lessons the next day. Panthro's lecture about automobile safety is a wise one. Speaking of wise, Jaga telling Lionel to basically shut up and listen to the woman, she's been here longer, is solid wisdom about listening to those that have more experience than you, something Lionel will be reminded of in the next episode. This episode cements Third Earth as being a truly dangerous place. Caves are dangerous enough as it is, but having one inexplicably age you is something no one would expect. It turns the normal into the terrifying, highlighted by the bones of the creatures that never made it out. A fun animation error, though, is when the ThunderCats get ready to split up. The scene starts with Lionel having the sword and claw on him, but Snarf hands it to him later in the scene. A first in this episode is someone noticing Lionel is talking to someone they can't see. This episode proves that the only person that can see Jaga is Lionel, with Willa having no clue who Lionel is having a random conversation with. Hope you join me next week when I tackle Poomra. For real this time. Let me know what you thought of today's episode. If you want to support the channel, feel free to check out the Patreon in the description or hop on into the community Discord to just chat. Take it easy, and we'll see you next time. Take care.